The autumn statement contained a number of measures designed to make pensions and ISAs more accessible and encourage longer-term saving. On the ISA front, there were a number of small tweaks that people will welcome, in particular making it much easier to invest across multiple ISA providers and increasing the range of longer-term investments that people can hold. Those will be popular, but they're not going to move the dial very much. There's also a really interesting addition in the Red Book on what happens when you reach retirement in a corporate pension scheme. At the moment, there isn't an obligation to provide access to retirement products, but the autumn statement today introduced that. So from now on, corporate pension providers will have to provide access to annuities or income drawdown that are appropriate and offer a good balance of quality and price. That might accelerate the current trend towards single trust schemes folding themselves into larger master trusts that are better able to cope with a regulatory obligation like that. Slightly more radical is the idea of a lifetime pension provider. At the moment, when you join an employer, you pay into their scheme under auto-enrollment, and if you move employers, you pay into the new employer's scheme. What that means is that people end up with a lot of fragmented small pots. Until now, the idea for the industry was that the small pots would just follow you around and go into whatever scheme you were in at the time. But today, the Chancellor opened a call for evidence on the idea of a lifetime pension provider, which has worked in Australia to give people a single pension pot that they carry around with them. It raises a number of questions about whether consumers will engage, whether they might be missold to, whether they will stick with a suboptimal pension pot when their employer is offering a better one. But the output from the call for evidence will be really interesting, and the industry will be watching carefully because they would love to build longer-term relationships with their pension scheme members. The final set of changes were much more technical, but probably much more important in the grand scheme of things, around trying to encourage long-term investment in pensions. One that the industry will have welcomed is accelerated planning permission, which is something that has long delayed the infrastructure bills and housing bills that they try to support. And there are also a number of moves around trying to encourage individual defined contribution schemes to hold longer-term assets, which is difficult when the idea is also that members should be able to switch in and out. We'll have to see over time whether these measures will work, but it's definitely a consistent theme in the Chancellor's actions regarding pensions.